Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Victor. So I'm going to be your anchor for this training. So we are on module 2 of the Cisco CyberOps, Cisco Cyber Operations, or Cisco Cyber Security Operations Associate Training course. And this is the second module in a 28 module series. This is quite a compact course. So we have several labs. I think there are up to 40 labs. And make sure that you sign up to your Cisco learning management system. Walk through the course module. So this is like an abridged version of all the things you have in the Cisco LMS. Make sure you take your notes. If you have questions, don't forget to log into the mentorship platform and ask your questions so that we can get back to you. Okay, so in the last model, we looked at threat actors, their impact, what the danger is like for cybersecurity experts, for anybody that have data of important value. And normally, data of important value is what the attacker looks at before he starts maybe trying to attack you. He looks at hack value. So hack value has to do with that factor of credence. What benefits do I have if I'm going to attack you? So there must be something to gain. And it can be tangible, it can be intangible. It can just be for fame. It can be for the fact that yes, we made it. We're able to attack that particular system. It can be business discontinuity. They just want to make a business go down and not come back again. It can be for revenge. It can be for several reasons. So it's not just money most of the times. So you need to be looking at all of the reasons why you are hack value for an attacker or to an attacker. So in module 2, we're going to be looking at fighters in the war against cybercrime. So that is us, we, the fighters. So we want to stop cybercrime or want to reduce it to a barest minimum. So what are some of the objectives? So what do we need to be looking at? So what are the objectives of this module? So you have mission. You want to explain the mission at this level. You want to be able to explain in great detail of a SOC. A SOC is a Security Operations Center. In some companies, you have it as a dozen of person, 12 persons, 6 persons at times. It can be big, it can be small, it can be two, three, 4 persons. It can even be one or two persons with some external consultants. So we want to understand what is their goal like in terms of defense, either offensive or defensive security. Then the next objective we're going to be looking at this module is how do we become a defender? The first two, three, four modules in this training is to put you in the right frame of mind in order for you to become a tier 1 or tier 2 cybersecurity expert. So describe resources available to prepare for a career in cybersecurity operations. So what are those things that you need to be able to put in place in order to say, yes, I am fully ready to go into cybersecurity? Now, the elements of a SOC. So we say a SOC is a security operations center. So what drives a SOC? You have people, you have processes, you have technology. So it's not enough to have people, right? Manpower with a lot of experience, with a lot of certification, with a lot of know-how, with a lot of training under their belt. That's not just sufficient. You need a process, you need a guideline, you need you need policies, you need procedures, you need guidelines, you need um what again? You need playbooks. Playbooks are like simulation documents. Things like if this happens, we do this. If this happens, we do this. If this happens, we do this. If this and this happens, this is what we do. So your team practice all of this to try to simulate what an attack is going to look like and how to respond to it. More or less, you want to have documentations for how you are going to respond to an incident. So most of these things are preparatory. And some aspects of cybersecurity is offensive, whereas some is defensive. So, but as a cybersecurity expert, we want to focus very, very well in offensive security. So you don't want to start doing forensics. after you have an attack. No, you want forensics to be most of your last option where you are trying to explore why, what happened, why it happened, and how it happened, when it happened, where it happened, and one of the reasons behind why all of these things happened. Then you want to be able to document that so that you can do lessons learned for your future mitigating countermeasures. And of course, if it is going to go to law court, to be an expert witness. So, but for us, we want to focus more on what are those things that we need to do to prepare ourselves. So that's where process comes in. You want to have most of these guidelines, procedures, um, and documentations on the do's and don'ts and how things should be done when before something happens, and of course after something happens. Then of course in technology, which is the last item they tried, you need softwares, you need hardwares, you need technology, you need platforms, you need solutions to drive your SOC center. You might be using software, you can be using a hardware, right? People are stealing your data in terms of your bandwidth. So how do you use technology to fight that? You can have a network analyzer, or you could have a bandwidth monitor as a tool. You can use a MikroTik tool. You can use a Cisco tool. I mean a hardware. You can decide to go for a software. So you can use SolarWind network monitor software, or you can use PRTG or any of those softwares. Now you are using technology to fight data theft, to be able to monitor your network. Of course, before you can start implementing most of these tools, you are implementing the tool as a result of you implementing a policy. And policy is part of your processes. So your processes are the things you've documented on how things should be done. And they will always have management backing. They will have HR backing. Because when things does not go according to how you've planned for your security to be guaranteed, use technology to block all of those things out. Of course, who is going to implement that? People. That's why we say to use a formalized, structured, and disciplined approach for defending against cyber threats, organizations typically use the service of professionals from the SOC operation center. So you can have a small team within your organization, or you could outsource completely, or you could have like a partially managed system. Okay, so you have tier one, tier two, tier three, then SOC manager. So when somebody's starting up as a cybersecurity expert, you start from here where you log tickets. If an event happens, I was just exploring the CV of someone just a while ago, like up to 2, 3, 4 hours ago. And in his CV, he wrote tier one analyst. So that means he's at the very forefront of maybe attacks. What he does is that he logs those attacks as they happen, or he inspects, checks for vulnerabilities within network, within applications, and wherever, and document most of these things. If the company is servicing another company, so you when you see most of these things, the complaints, you log them, you raise tickets for them. Whereas a tier two person is going to have a deeper experience in trying to now respond. How does he remediate? And of course, somebody at tier three is going to be doing some malware analysis, some of the things we did in digital forensics. He's going to be doing some threat intelligence, he's going to be doing some endpoint security, he's going to be doing a whole lot of research, threat hunting, trying to look out for threats, trying to look even at the global scale using threat intelligence platforms like Talos and the SANS newsroom and several others, right? Whereas the SOC manager is going to see how does he assign resources, how does he assign all of the elements to create a more sustainable SOC center. And he's going to be looking at the whole picture in mind. He's going to manage all of the resources of the SOC and serves as the point of contact for larger organization or customers. So this is what it looks like. This diagram is from Science Institute. I would want you to go to Science Institute, subscribe to their newsroom. You have daily dose of info. It's going to help you. So you have frontliners, which is tier one. So tier two is student responders, tier three, and of course, SOC manager. So the process in the SOC, I've just explained that it starts from here, tier one, goes to two, goes to three. So tier one, what does it do? The monitor incidents, open tickets, just like in your bank. If you need to, if you have something that looks like a cybersecurity issue, or you have an attack, your ATM, your card, your account, and wherever. So you have things that are customer related, things that are bank issues, things that have to do with cyber attack. So once you raise those things, somebody's going to look at that and try to evaluate that, open a ticket for that, and do very basic mitigation like close your account and block ports, open ports. If it's a website, if it's a network, so you have to block all of those ports and don't allow outbound traffic, or in some cases, don't allow inbound traffic. So that's what a tier one guy is going to be doing. But if for a tier two person, he's going to be doing more of a deeper investigation. He can also be involved in forensic analysis, right? Whereas tier three is going to be doing in-depth knowledge, threat hunting, more of preventive measure. So the guy in tier three is going to be doing more of offensive security. He wants to like prepare all of the things needed to be able to guarantee a better organization. So you typically start from tier one when you're starting your cybersecurity journey. You start from trying to learn what an attack looks like. Like there was a certain time we hosted some applications on the server. The owners of the server will normally say they will get back to us, blah, blah, blah. But because we understand what an attack looks like, we told them this is an attack. It's not a result of you having a downtime. No, this is an attack. So a tier one, tier two person should be able to understand when I have an attack and when I have a maybe I have a downtime, that kind of thing. So if a tier one cannot solve a problem, he escalates to tier two, then escalates to tier three. So there are technologies like I talked about, softwares that can be implemented in a SOC. So you have SIEM, which is Security Information Event Management Software. They are just applications that have a whole lot of things in place. They have anti-malware, they have network flows, they have bandwidth manager, they have a whole lot just put into one like a software. Most of them are very expensive. They range within three, four, five, up thousands of dollars. So, but the good thing is that you don't need to be trying to do monitoring with your Cisco or Netgear or your proprietary device. You don't need to be looking at your disk logs. You don't need to be looking at. So you have everything in one place. So it gives your team a good understanding of how to look at the big picture, especially for organizations with hundreds and thousands of nodes on their network. They will not be able to afford to be inspecting systems and endpoints, that is their mobiles, their tablets, their devices one after the other. So deploying a SIEM or an endpoint solution would be the best bet to see everything in one place and be able to make judgments and be able to mitigate attacks. So a SOA is a little bit different from a SIEM in the sense that a SOA can respond. So you don't see the differences there. So a SOA platforms are similar to SIEM, but they now do what? They try to help the SOC team to respond based on playbooks. I'll look at playbooks later on in this course and how to develop them, and you see some templates. So yes, so this is a continuation of what a SOA does. Then for cybersecurity experts in a SOC, if you are to be given the responsibility to protect an IT infrastructure, if you are to be given an opportunity to protect a website, a network, a cloud server, a mobile application, a platform, there are some metrics, some mathematical uh, data you want to work with. Just put it in summary terms, numbers. There are some numbers you want to be looking at, which you call your KPIs, your key performance indicators. So your dwell time. So what's the length between which you have an attack and before you detect and maybe possibly stop it? So if a dwell time of an attack on your infrastructure is a long time, it then means that you don't actually have, is that you don't have people in place, or you don't have processes in place, or you don't have technology in place able to mitigate this attack. So these are some of the things that you look at to measure different aspects of your SOC performance. If you need to perform how well you are doing, these metrics are critical. So you also have mean time to detect. The expression is there. Mean time to respond. Mean time to contain. Right? Does it take you 10 years? Or does it take you 5 days? Or does it take you 10 weeks to respond, to contain, to put things under control? Right? Time to control. So you have enterprise and managed security. So different companies, different organizations, they have different ways they classify it. It can be managed, it can be fully managed, it can be partially managed. Just how do you respond to incidents? Security and availability. We've looked at the CIA very in detail all the while. So you say you have CI and you have A. So this is confidentiality. Confidentiality, you have integrity, you have availability. The question is, so how do I ensure I have information security? So I typically make sure that I have confidentiality. Who is not supposed to see something? Who is not supposed to have access to something? Who is not supposed to cite a particular document? You're not supposed to know about something. So you implore the need to know. Whereas in integrity, you are saying people should not tamper with data, people should not pilfer, people should not change, people should not alter. In our forensic course, we looked at hash values, right? So you could use that. Several tools we explored in doing that. Then availability. So somebody can somebody it might be that somebody needs to have access to something. He's the rightful owner of that particular information, but it's no longer available. And you know, one of the things that attackers do is that they want to make sure they counter these elements of information security. These are the things that ensure that you are secure, that your information is confidential, that people don't change your data, and that it's available to you when you need to use it. So, how do you become a defender? So, there are several tools, or rather, there are several certifications. So, you have the CISCO CyberOps, you have the CompTIA Cybersecurity Analyst certifications, you have the information security certification, you have the gag, you have the certified ethical hacker, um certified ethical hacker by AC Council, you have the CompTIA Exploit by CompTIA. So these are some certifications that you can look at in you trying to become a defender. So we are here. Most of the certifications are equivalent in their nature. So most of the modules you have here, you have here, you have here, you have here, you have here. So it's a matter of choice what you're looking for, maybe the job that you want to explore. And if you have questions more about any of these certifications, you can do well to please ask within the mentorship group. Further education. So you need a degree. It can be related. It might not be related. So, but if it's related, it's a plus. You also need Python. It can be Python, it can be PHP, it can be JavaScript. A student trying to run an MSc in cybersecurity just explained to me today after a programming class in PHP that one of the prerequisites for that cybersecurity course is that cybersecurity masters is C++ and JavaScript programming. Why? You see, cybersecurity is a layer on top of every other layer in tech. So you are trying to protect a web application, you're trying to protect a software made using any of these languages. So for you to try to get vulnerabilities, explore vulnerabilities, and for instance, if you want to do penetration testing, you might do a automated scan or automated testing. A good number of times you want to do some manual testing. So how are you going to understand what you're seeing from the results? How do you now how are you going to be able to advise the developers of such applications or softwares or such environment what to do and what not to do in order to ensure security? So that's why these skills are very critical. You can start your journey today, give yourself a 6 months, a 1 year plan. These things, these tools, these skills will make you a better defender. Linux skills, you cannot overemphasize it. You need to be a power user for the three major operating systems. That is that is Linux, Windows, and Mac. But most of the times, you want to be very used to your Windows and your Mac environment. Sorry, your Windows and your Linux environment. So sources of information, you could check any of these or as applicable in your country. Internships, scholarships, temporary agencies, your first job. So you need to start something. Can be call center, it can be tier one. There's a lab research in your Cisco LMS. Please look at it. It's simply research. Please analyze it and let's hear from you within the mentorship group. So summary, we've learned about the major elements of a SOC, which is people, process, and technologies. We've understood that there are several layers to it. They will understand how a SEM differs from a SOA. They will understand that there are some KPIs, some things to look out for if you want to say a system is secured or if you want to check for performance. Okay, I think that'll be all. Some of the new words we've learned are all of this SOC, SOA, SEM, and MTTD, MTTD, and MTTC. Okay, that'll be all for module 2. Thank you very much for listening. If you have questions, please ask within the mentorship group. And don't forget to always log into your Cisco LMS platform and take up your course. You have very short explanatory video that explains a little bit in more detail all of the things I am trying to conceptualize for you. And if you don't have access to the Cisco LMS, please contact us. You sign up and we can give you access to that. Thank you very much.